Right, hi and welcome to another short chat, this time with Kate Mackay, again celebrating the fact that I've now got 50 episodes out of the Demystifying Mental Toughness podcast, and which Kate was actually on about a month ago, I think it was. And Kate is the author of a book called Take It All On Board, where she talks about learning to snowboard and how that relates to everyday life. So yeah, welcome, Kate.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and congratulations on reaching 50 episodes.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm also excited about this one and talking about confidence and how we can best develop it in people. So, with regards to that topic, obviously you're into coaching as well.
Yeah.
How is it that you go about, your coaching in order to develop confidence with individuals, and what sort of challenges do they bring?
I would say almost exclusively women that come to me as clients. They'll come for a whole range of different things, and they can be from growing their business, wanting to maybe start a new business, maybe branching into a new sphere. Sometimes it's people that work in perhaps middle management in a corporate environment and want to perform better, help manage their team better. And no matter what they come with, usually the underlying issue is around confidence. So, and although we may not actually talk specifically about confidence, that's the underlying theme always. So in terms of confidence and what they're wanting to achieve, we would be focusing on certain topics, certain things that they want to do, but we break that down into smaller chunks. So with confidence, it's about being able to take small steps, because by taking small steps, you can increase your confidence in a gradual way using the learning that you get from that. So it may be when I'm working with a client, there's something they want to then try out. We have a talk about that. They'll go and try it. They come back to me then as their coach, and we chat through what the learning was. And they may try something different next time, but it provides a platform of learning whereby they can step onto that platform to then move to the next small step that they're going to take. If you take too big a step and you push yourself too hard and too fast, too quickly, you can damage your confidence. So it's counterproductive then. So it's really about taking some action, learning, taking some more action, learning. And if things don't go well, then it's thinking about something else. And different people have different needs. So one of the clients that I worked with, who was wanting to step back into a sphere of work that she'd been in previously, but had had some difficulties with, she wanted to go and talk to people, but was really too nervous to do that. So we took a very small baby step. Rather than going to talk to people, let's do a bit of a trawl of the internet and have a look at how that industry has changed since she left the industry. So it could give her a bit of confidence in terms of being more up to date and knowledgeable before she went back and would speak to people in that industry. So you really have to think as a coach what's going to benefit your client, and it's very individual according to them.
And I suppose that the skill of the coach is how you communicate with the client, and in effect, the questions that you're going to ask them, and how you go about challenging them. And importantly, like you mentioned the word learning about 3 or 4 times there, you're going to be like handing over so they feel more in control of the whole learning experience.
Yeah, it's not about, what I don't want to is foster dependence upon me as the coach. So it's about helping them to become confident in their own abilities so they can move forward eventually without me being there. And it's not just about skills in terms of confidence. Skills definitely help people become confident, but there's also another sort of 2 crucial pieces, I think. One is around who you have around you. So who's on your team? So, as a coach, I know the value of coaching. I have coaches as well, depending on different things for depending on what I'm doing. And it's about who's going to be on Team Kate. So it's also from their perspective, who's going to be on their team, who's going to be positive and helping cheerlead them along. It's very hard to be confident and positive when you've got negative people around you and in your sphere. And yes, we all have good days and bad days, and some days we feel more confident than others. But it's about being able to tap into those people that are around you when you're having perhaps a bit of a wobble, and that can help you overcome that wobble. So, sometimes there is a discussion around who are the people that are around them. And sometimes, family and friends, they're not always the most positive of people. But what you don't want is somebody holding you back. You want somebody who's going to be on your team, cheerleading you and encouraging you to move forward, to do what you want to do. So, and lots of different people in our lives can have sometimes ulterior motives about, you don't always want somebody to change. So, because that can sometimes move them away from where they are, or hold a mirror up to somebody else, to the person who doesn't want them to change. It sometimes makes them feel a bit uncomfortable. Maybe I should be doing something as well. So we always have a chat as well about, other people that are around them. And I think in terms of confidence, sometimes when we don't feel confident, we can borrow other people's confidence. So again, if you're working, depending on what you're working on. So when I was snowboarding, and I still snowboard, obviously, when I was learning, I took baby steps to begin with, but I had an instructor, and the instructor, I built a very strong relationship with her, and she got to know me very well. So she would know how far to push me and how not. And I had that belief and trust in her to know what she was best for me. So if she said I could do something, even if I felt nervous that I couldn't do it myself, I borrowed her belief in me so that I could give it a go. And that's sometimes really helpful for other people to understand that as well.
So I would imagine part of that whole coaching process there would be you're trying to make them more aware of and identify who are the cheerleaders, who are the people that drag them down, and understand more about how it then goes on to impact their different behaviours. I'll just say a quick hello to Natalie Hurdley, who's just put a comment there on LinkedIn. I interviewed Natalie on Wednesday, I think it was. So hi, Natalie.
Hi, Natalie. I don't know you, but hello.
Yeah. So yeah. Do you want to expand on that a little bit more, and how you help identify who are like positive members of the team, if you like?
It will vary from person to person, and there are times when, as a coach, particularly if somebody's come to you for something that's around work, whereby it's a very dynamic relationship between a coach and their client. And there's definitely been times when I might have mentioned family members where I can tell it's a bit of a don't go there, and I have to back off. And I know that there's something there. And sometimes it's about what people don't say as much as what they do say. And you have to be guided by the client. And if there is that, I don't want to talk about this, that's absolutely fine. So we would talk about other things. And that may be thinking about who the positive people are in their life. And when they talk, you do get to know a little bit more about the people in their working life as well as their personal life. And it's very hard to when you've got people that are negative in your personal life, you can't just block them out, but you might want to limit contact. Or we talk about developing maybe some sort of almost like an invisible shield. So if that negativity is coming to you, have that sort of visualization of that bouncing away so that it doesn't impact, and internalize that as a person. So, it's having a thought around that. And equally, at work, particularly if you're managing or leading a group of people, there'll be some people that are more positive than others. And it's not just about who's positive and who isn't. It's about who are the influencers, who influences other people in the team. And thinking about, as you said, David, coming back to communication, who are those people that potentially might be undermining you for their own reasons that can damage your confidence. But quite often, that's the issues to do with that person rather than the client. And sometimes it's helping other people to see that's more about the person doing that undermining rather than them as an individual. So there's a whole load of things that will be going on that will vary according to the person that you speak, that the client that you've got.
Yeah, it is such a big area, isn't it? Where, like, even just someone's values, if there's a value clash between you and another person, that can have a big dent on someone's confidence and how they feel about themselves. Likewise, obviously motivation in that respect.
And that's why it's useful to have a coach, because a coach doesn't have, as a coach, you don't have the only agenda I have is to enable my client to be able to do what they want to do. There's no ulterior motives as far as I'm concerned. So I want what's best for them. Whereas sometimes it can be hard to know when you're talking to different people where they might be coming from. We all have a personal, a public and a private face. I'm doing a live now. I'm going to have my public face on. I'm not going to be showing my private face because that's just who we are as human beings. So sometimes it's knowing what those different elements are and just raising people's awareness. And that sometimes can be enough just to help people take a step back and think, well, actually, this isn't necessarily about me. And if you do have a clash of values, about recognizing that. And that doesn't mean that you have to give way on your values, but just recognizing that can cause difficulties in terms of your own confidence when it's a work environment and there's different levels of perhaps power struggles going on, of how to work through some of that.
Yeah, certainly when you talk about that, a big helpful thing there is being able to throw your ego away to one side and not get embroiled in the whole hierarchical thing about somebody being better than you, or even getting involved in like blaming them for certain things.
Yeah, and quite often then it's worth thinking about, and for some people they don't necessarily know what their values are, so being able to work through some of that to help them see what's perhaps some things they're prepared to give way on and some things they're not. And when you've got a real clash between values, that then there might be an argument, are you in the right role or in the right organization? Because if there is a real clash, going to work is going to be really difficult and hard for you, and it maybe you need to think about some alternative way. So it's having some time out for a client to be able to think some of those through with a trusted person. And sometimes for some clients, because it's a very personal relationship, that isn't the right fit. So there's sometimes, I don't think I've actually had somebody come to me where I've actually had to turn them away, where we've had some coaching and I'm thinking this isn't a right fit for either them or me. But it's really important that you do find the right people, and just even as with like with instructors and teachers, and I can think back to my snowboarding days, I had instructors some that were pretty rubbish, but some that were brilliant, but I just didn't fit with them because of the way their personality was, or how they what metaphors they use to get things across. So don't be frightened to step away from a coach where the fit isn't right. You need to have somebody where there is that gelling and that trust, because that will help propel you forward much more quickly than it would do otherwise. You need confidence in your coach.
And on that score, you talked about in your book about various different challenges you've had with your own confidence, and so I'm just wondering, like, how you overcame some of those battles.
Yeah, I would. It's not a quick fix with confidence. It takes time, and I think you have to be patient. I think in today's age, we expect everything now, and an instant result, and want things quickly. And with confidence, it doesn't generally happen like that. You need to spend time and invest time. It's not a linear process either. You'll go forward and then back a bit. In terms of sort of with snowboarding and the challenges to overcome, some of that was around being in an environment I wasn't familiar with at all. I wasn't brought up, I didn't come from a family that skied or snowboarded. And, it was not just learning a new skill, it was being in an environment as well that was completely alien. So over time, I found the instructors that I worked well with and that I clicked with. I would snowboard with good groups of people that were very supportive. And it was enabling me to be able to believe in myself that I could do things. So it was taking those small steps. So when I first started, I would look at the blue slopes or the red slopes and the black slopes that get increasingly difficult and think there's no way I could even manage a blue slope. So let alone a red or a black. Now I can ride practically anything on the mountain, on piste, on a slope that isn't away from the piste. But at the time, that was so far removed, I didn't think about that. I just focused on what was the next step to get me to the next level. So when I first started out on the baby slope was serviced by what we call a pomato. And that I couldn't, to get to the top of the baby slope, I had to master the pomato. If I didn't, I had to take my board off, walk up the side of the slope to put it on, which was really hard work. But that pomato, I must have fallen off it 100 times, easy. In front of everyone, I'd fall off. They'd stop the lift. I'd get back on. Sometimes the liftie would let me get back on. If I was had a couple of goes, he'd be like, nah, back to the back of the queue. So, I'd be bruised, battered. My ego wouldn't be so great. And it was just a question of keeping going. I had to have faith that eventually all would come well. And it did. So, it was taking those small steps, though, and not trying to bite off more than I could chew. Once I mastered one step and felt confident in that, I would then move to the next step. But I had people around me that could help me do that.
Yeah, I find that a lot when I'm working with different athletes in sports, whether it's football, rugby or cricket or something, how they get too far ahead of themselves. If it was in a football match and you make a mistake in the first 5 minutes, it would be very easy to be thinking about the rest of the first half and the second half. But as you say, if you can break it down and just focus on the next minute, next 2 minutes, the next task, then...
And don't dwell on the mistake. Don't keep thinking about it. That was the other thing, you'd go over and, well, what have I done wrong? What have I done wrong? And you'd play it over and over again. That's not helpful. It's not helpful either to compare yourself to others. So I would look at other people and think, well, why can't I do what they can do? But their journey's their journey. My journey's my journey. I didn't start snowboarding till my 30s. That's considered quite elderly in snowboard terms. So, you have to try and block out some of those other things that aren't helpful to dwell on.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, the quieter your mind can be when you're doing any task, any sport, then the better outcome you're gonna have.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Kate, I've really enjoyed this short discussion. I'll put some notes in the comments there regarding your book and background, and if anybody wants to reach out to you, they certainly can.
More than welcome to. Yes, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to speak to anyone. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been great. Great way to spend a Friday lunchtime.
Definitely. Thanks very much.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.